Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast. Today's is going to be really simple, straight to the point, and kind of ridiculous if you want to look at it that way. Because today I want to talk about things that I actually believe that Amazon Flex should be doing for us as drivers, as people who actually pour out the bodies to go do this, come rain, come shine. It's a beautiful day today, but for some reason they had actually projected there was going to be a hurricane in my area, and we were all on the fringes of if I should go to work or not. But for some reason we still showed up from the morning, and right now it's 4:54 in the evening, and I just finished my schedule. But for some reason I feel kind of cheated because right now I'm driving a full 1 hour and 45 minutes away from my house to go back home, which means this last block that I've done literally brought me away more than 56 miles to go all the way from the place that I picked up my haul all the way to where I actually dropped it off. So if you ask me, that's a lot of mileage. So you're looking at more than 100 miles back and forth without counting the mileage that you're actually spending while you actually are delivering the goods. So it's starting to feel a little bit squeezy, a little bit, they're squeezing our noses a little bit. I get it. Everything is squeezing everybody's nose at this point. There is no single job in America at this point that you could do like that and you feel like you're surviving off of it. So we have to literally run from one place to the other to try to make kind of ends meet. But even then, I still feel like Amazon Flex is still pushing it a little bit, and they will always push it because we will always be there to do it. If you want a little bit of independence, it's kind of a captivating job too, that when you start doing it, it's very hard for you to go back into the mainstream kind of 9 to 5 vibes of the work. But that being said, I understand we will still always be there to do this, and we actually are kind of prudent to it at this point that we have to do it. But the thing is, I think me as a person, I feel like there is a couple of things that Amazon Flex can do to make it a little bit more enjoyable than it is right now. For example, 3 things that you need for this job, which is gasoline, your car, and yourself or the cell phone. They should at least take 1 or 2 of those things. I literally believe at this point that Amazon could, even if they put a quota and say, we will pay half of your car payment, for example, we're going to go with the basic. We're going to give everybody about $200 for every driver who does, let's say, a block a day. And if you count on average, you say 30 blocks a month, we're going to give you about $200 as a bonus for you to put towards your car. That is a very good incentive. I believe a lot of us would actually do this job a little bit happier knowing that you're getting $200 towards your car, because most of us don't use really expensive cars. Mine specifically, if I was to talk about mine, it's a smaller car, but I pay 300 something for it a month. So if they went halfway, then it will be about $200, and that will actually incentivize me to do this job more happier than I'm doing it right now. So that is one suggestion that I believe Amazon can actually do to make us a little bit happier, to make us work with a little bit more zeal, for us to feel a little bit more motivated to do this job. And I know for a fact, I think Amazon can actually handle that. They can handle giving every driver a little bit of a bonus of $200 a month. They can totally handle that. They make enough to do that. They just, I feel like, don't want to. The other thing that I would suggest, if I actually could talk to a real person, and if I was to be put in a room and asked, what do you think they can actually do to improve this experience for you to make to feel like you actually worth the time you're investing in Amazon Flex would be the phone payment. If they can actually take over my phone and say, because that's another thing that you cannot do without in this job. And on top of that, the way the application is built is that it uses Bluetooth, which kind of takes over your phone at that moment when you're delivering. It literally kind of takes over your phone. It's a heavy, heavy application, and it consumes everything. And I think because it's a requirement for you to do this job, at least if you cannot pay for the car, if you feel like the $200 halfway the car is a lot, at least give people $100. You know, that's half of what you should have paid them to do to incentivize them with the car payment. Incentivize us by paying for our phone. Okay, most of us carry a plan of about. I use T-Mobile, and my best plan is just $75 a month. So if you actually can incentivize people by at least paying for that, I think that would be, a lot of people would do this job with a little bit more zeal, with a little bit more motivation than there is right now. I believe at this point, Amazon needs to start throwing out a little bit of, motivators. Otherwise, it's starting to feel monotonous. It's starting to feel very boring. Same old, go in and drive 50 miles away for $70, for $69. I don't know where they get the $69 all the time. I haven't gotten a trip, even if it's 5 hours, that is more than the best I've done was $137. I see people who say they have $160, $170. I've never gotten anything that is above 137. 137 was my ultimate best, and for 5 hours. So if you put everything into account, that would actually, somebody would argue that if you're doing a 3.5 hours for $70, the 3.5 hours or 3 hours for $69, somebody would literally argue that you're working below minimum wage in Massachusetts. Because let's say 3 hours, you give somebody $60. That will mean $20 an hour. Okay, so yeah, that in theory is above minimum wage, but here's the fact. That person is using their own car. That person is using their own phone. Not mentioning that person is putting gasoline in the car. So I think when you put all those things into consideration, then you will literally be working under minimum wage. Especially the fact that you're getting that, at the end of the year, you have to actually pay taxes off of it. It's literally a little bit weird. I understand now. I know you all are gonna come after me and say, "Oh, if you don't feel like it, why are you doing it then? Why aren't you going and working in McDonald's? Why aren't you doing whatever?" But there used to be a time where actually gig work like this really was worth it. If you guys remember, I've always been transparent on this channel, and I've been showing you how much I was making through all these channels, including Uber itself. At one point, I was driving for Uber, and I was making more than $150,000 a year. I know I was killing myself because I was working 12-hour shifts almost 7 days a week, but the money was kind of good. The money was there if you actually work your butt off. But it gets a little bit frustrating if it starts to feel like the way Amazon Flex is feeling these days. Picking up a shift is a struggle, and because it's way saturated, there's way too many people doing it, so that's why they don't care. They'll give you $60 for 3.5-hour shift, because they know a lot of people are actually there. If you're not taking it, other people will take it. And we will always do it because this is how the economy is right now. So anyways, my ramble is all about the fact that I believe Amazon should do a little bit more. and give people at least some of the things that I've mentioned above. And one of them was at least try to make a little bit of a payment on a car, or help people out with their phones, or help people out with their insurance, personal insurances on the cars, or give a little bit of an incentive. Give a little bit of an incentive. Not to knock everything, but Uber has this. Uber sometimes gives a little bit of incentives here and there, where they say if you do 20 rides, we're going to give you $100. Even though the wages are way too low, it incentivizes people to work, to do more, to try to beat that goal. When I drive for Uber, I pick up my quests for the week and for the weekend, and I try to pump in as many rides as possible. Sometimes I take even rides that are unnecessarily low on pay, but just because I want to beat that gap that they put there, I want to beat the quest that they put there in order for me to get that little bit of money. Amazon Flex does not have that. They literally do not have that. And I think actually somebody was asking me what makes Amazon Flex a little bit better than DoorDash. For new drivers, I would strongly suggest you start with DoorDash. But what I think the biggest thing that Amazon Flex is better than DoorDash is the fact that you're guaranteed of the little bit of money you're showing up for. If you show up on your shift for your shift on time and you do it, or you get sent home because there is no how, you still will get paid. So if you reserved a block of 3.5 hours, that 3.5 hours, if you show up on time and you do it, you're going to get paid. It's not the same thing with DoorDash. DoorDash, it also depends on the place where you're working. You may show up for those 3.5 hours in DoorDash that you scheduled, and you fail to make $60. Or every once in a while you show up and you make double the amount of money, but it's not guaranteed. So for a few of us who have just a little bit of leeway time here and there to do this, guarantee is really, really, really important, that when you show up, you are at least guaranteed to make that little bit of money that you signed up for. So that is really, really important. Yeah, so that being said, I will conclude this simple podcast by saying that I think Amazon Flex is good, but I think they can do better. I think they should put incentives to make us want to do this job a little bit more, to make us feel like our time and energy is worth it. All right. You guys, as always, you can leave me what you think in the comment section below. These ones are uploaded on YouTube, so it's easy. You could just go in there and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys are up to and what you're thinking about this job. What have you guys found in it? Is it easy for you? What are the pros and cons of doing this job? Let me know all in the comment section below, and we can always continue the conversation in there. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and let us do this together. We're in this together. Let's do it and make it fun. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.